Today, Cover 6 Podcast. We are here today with Mr. Almost 5K itself, my co-host from Cover 6 Podcast, Joe Noobo.
What's up, noobs and sons from SCG Sports? Welcome.
And then we have a special guest. This show promised to be full of BS because we have the one and only BSer itself, Fred for Birdland Bs.
What's up, BSers? Let's do the damn thing.
There we go. So guys, like I said, this thing we're gonna go pick by pick. We're gonna do 32 picks. Give us grades as we go, and yeah, let us know how we're doing. That's fine. Anything, whatever is fine with us. Nobody's gonna get offended here. It's all opinions at the end of the day. So that being said, let's kick this up. Fred, you got the first pick.
All right, so we're looking at the first pick. We're looking at the Arizona Cardinals, a team in a lot of need, of a lot of help. This is a team that's got some needs, obviously, at the wide receiver position, offensive line, defensive line, tight end, corner. I mean, they could use help all across the board. But there's obviously the one factor that has been kind of the topic of discussion amongst everybody. And I think at the number one pick and Kingsbury being their coach, I think all the stars are aligning. I think Josh Rosen, if he's not traded prior to draft day, will be a draft day trade. And I think the Cardinals, with the number one pick, take Kyler Murray out of Oklahoma.
Ooh. Kyler Murray. All right, so I'm next, correct?
Yes,
that's
you
right.
are.
All right. Well, hopefully everything sounds good. So we got the 49ers. Interesting to see that. I'm sure they would be very happy that the Cardinals did indeed take Kyler Murray here.
That's right.
Because, in my opinion, the best player in this draft, and a lot of people will agree, I think, has fallen to them. And it just so happens to be a position that the 49ers really need. Oh, and before I do say who I want to pick, Sonny, I wanted to ask, there's no trades, correct? We're just doing straight up mock draft.
We're just going to go straight up mock draft now. If you think they based on the picks that have been before you, that's a team that might trade out, you can mention that, and you can mention the team that will trade out. And the guys on the, because I see already trade, the guys on the live feed, on the comment section or in the chat, you guys can propose whatever you want. That chat is for you guys to just have fun. Go ahead, Noob.
All right. Well, so the 49ers, obviously, in the past, they've been building up their defensive line for a while. They've the past at least 2 years, they've taken interior defensive linemen, but they still need some edge help. And they're happy to see that Nick Bosa is still on the board, and they are going to pull the trigger on Nick Bosa, and they're taking him. So
yeah, that was the layup for you there, Noobo.
Yep. Kind of easy, right?
Right.
But I think that's exactly what's going to happen, right? I do think at this point, Kingsbury tipped his hand and said, like, hey, we love Josh, blah, 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 but it's a business. So,
right.
That being said, so I'm number 3. I get the Jets. I think the Jets will love to trade out. They will love to trade out. So the question is are the Giants desperate for a quarterback, or they want to sit pretty at 6? Can the Dolphins, if the Dolphins are in love with somebody that's not named Kyler Murray, will they be willing to trade the farm for going to 3? Because that will be expensive for them. So I can see them trading. Now, that being said, I'm torn in this pick. Because Quinn Williams is there, right? And I think he's a beast. But they have Leonard Williams. So what I'm thinking is they currently don't have that rusher. So I'm going with Allen from Kentucky.
Okay.
Josh Allen from Kentucky.
Josh Allen from Kentucky.
Nice pick. Yeah. Even though someone else doesn't agree with you in the chat. No Josh Allen, he said, but too late.
All right, at the number 4 pick, we got the Raiders on the clock. This is a team that I talked about it last night on the show with Scott. This is a team that's going to make a quick turnaround from 4-12 last year. everything that they've done in the offseason. We talked about the Ravens rebuilding the wide receiver core last year. I mean, that didn't work out very well. But what this team has done at the wide receiver core is unreal. I mean, you added a top 3 wide receiver in Antonio Brown. You went out and got one of the most underrated wide receivers and a guy that I was hoping the Ravens would go after in Tyrell Williams. And then you added, the icing on the cake with J.J. Nelson. That's a great trio. I think Derek Carr at this point doesn't have a whole lot more of excuses to make. But I think the one glaring hole on this team that really didn't get addressed so far in the offseason is pass rush. I mean, this team had a season low 13 sacks last year. So that, for me, has got to be priority number 1. And, man, as many talented guys that are on.
Who are you going with? I think I know who you're going with.
Man. If I'm the Raiders, golly, they got to need at linebacker too.
Yes, they do.
I'm taking Devin White out of LSU.
Devin White, top 4 pick.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, man. It kills a couple of different things. It helps them with pass rush, and it fills a hole at linebacker that they desperately need.
No, I agree.
Yep. So someone mentioned that there's still a bit of an echo. Sorry about that, guys, but I mean, we tried to fix it as much as we could. So
yeah, I do apologize.
Just gonna have to deal with it, unfortunately. So sorry, but
yeah.
Anyways, someone's asking Fred, what's your channel so he can subscribe to you?
At Birdland Bs. So everything, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, everything is at Birdland Bs. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so before we go, all the channels, Noobo's, mine, obviously you're in mine, but are in the description below. So you should be able to go in the description, click on the YouTube channel, and then it will take you. You can subscribe. So and then give it a like to this video if you can. So go ahead, Noobo. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good, man. All right, so the Bucks. This is an interesting team because now they actually have a competent coach in Bruce Arians. So definitely someone that could turn this franchise around, which has been a losing franchise for a very long time, probably since their Super Bowl win. So you just need playmakers, man. And I know there's still people like Quinn and Williams still on the board, who is probably the BPA at this moment in time. But however, I'm kind of thinking I want to reach a little bit for the Bucks because I think drafts are unpredictable. We remember last year that Denzel Ward went at, number 4, and nobody really expected that. So I'm going to do another reach. I'm going to say they take Greedy Williams at number 5.
Greedy Williams.
Yep.
I will say I was not expecting Greedy.
No. But not a bad pick at all, man.
Oh no, not a bad pick. For sure, not a bad pick. It's something the Bucks need help in the secondary. If you think about it, that division, right? That division is full of quarterbacks and receivers. So,
yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So they need some. Anyway, so the Giants, and here's for me a big pick because the Giants need a quarterback, right? And they have 2 first-rounders. The question is, are they in love with one of these quarterbacks? Or are they in love with the BPA, meaning Quentin Williams, or I have another one for the Giants. I don't know. For me, I was like, oh, damn, who should I pick? But the pick that I'm thinking, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but this is a very Giants thing to do. They love some Eli, so I'm gonna go with Juwan Taylor, the tackle.
Okay.
I think the thing with the Giants is, and again, they have a second pick, so I can see them. I can see a couple scenarios for the Giants. Either with the 17, try to jump to the 10-ish spot and grab a quarterback, or try to call out, hey, Arizona, you just got Kyle Murray. I'll give you my second round pick for Kyle. Or not for Kyle, for Rosen. And that's a big possibility. And then you can still pick your 2 players. They are horrible in the O-line. They just overpay for Soldier, so this will be the right tackle. Eventually, the left tackle Soldier should be cut after next year. So, your turn, Fred.
Yeah, man, that was a surprising pick for me. I really thought that the Giants would probably end up going Dwayne Haskins there. I think that would be for me, the layup pick for them. But let's take a look at the seventh pick. The seventh pick is the Jaguars. Jaguars, obviously, they got their quarterback now with Nick Foles. I don't know how that's going to work out for them. I still have question marks about Nick Foles, but look, when you're comparing him to what the other options were there, Blake Bortles, it's definitely an upgrade. But they have needs all across the ball, especially on the offensive side. They need line help. They need help at wide receiver. They need help at tight end. And you actually went off the board and took my guy. Jawan Taylor was going to be the pick I was going to make here for the Jaguars. So I'm going to follow that up with the next best tackle in this draft, and I'm going to take Jonah Williams for the Jaguars.
Wow.
Jonah Williams.
So they got to kind of settle, huh?
Yeah.
I love Jonah Williams. For me, he's better than Taylor. It's think
it's 1A, 1B for me.
Right. No, yeah, I agree with you. But
for me, the problem is everybody's thinking that Williams is gonna be a guard. I think the Giants want that right tackle fix. That's why I went with Taylor. For me, Williams is better than Taylor. But anyway, Noobs.
And Lex says it's a reach. I mean, you never know, man. There could be so many reaches.
who he says it's a reach?
Probably for Jonah Williams, I guess. I don't know.
I disagree. I like Jonah. Go ahead, Noob.
Yeah. All right, so the Lions quickly rush to the podium because Quinnen Williams is still on the board, and they take him. No hesitation.
Unreal that he's still on the board at this late in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's definitely going to help out that defensive line. He'll be able to slot in right next to Damon Harrison, and that could really make them one of the best defensive lines in football, possibly, with Quinnen Williams.
I agree.
So.
I agree. So going back with the trades, one of the things that if Quinnen Williams is there, I think a team like the Broncos, I can see them trading to number 7 to get Quinnen Williams. They have the rushers. That interior D-line is not as good, and that's why the rushers, they cannot excel. I think that will be a great pick for them. So that will be a trade that I can see happening. Sure. Okay, so I think the Bills are very frustrated because they would have loved Quinnen Williams. In this pick, how the draft is falling, the problem with the Bills, they need interior D linemen, and they need, in my opinion, they need tackle, right? That O-line was very bad last year. So, I'm debating. We can have Dillard, the tackle from Washington, or Ed Oliver. So I think Ed Oliver is the best player available. So I'm gonna go with Mr. Ed Oliver out of Houston.
Okay. All right. So at number 10, we got the Denver Broncos, and we got the unpredictable, the unpredictable John Elway leading the charge here, and we know how uneasy John Elway is when it comes to the quarterback position. Now, they have been saying all the right things about Joe Flacco. That he even's gone out and said that he thinks that Joe Flacco's just now entering his prime. Yeah. But I don't even think he believes that at the end of the day.
Your BS meter should go up in that point, right?
That's right, exactly. Now, the Broncos do have a lot of needs here, and had I not taken Devin White off the board earlier, I think that Devin White would have been a good fit here for the Broncos. But I think with Dwayne Haskins still sitting on the board at 10, and we're not talking trades because I think the Broncos at this point might make a trade or trade back. But at the number 10 pick, and knowing John Elway, I think he goes with the best quarterback on the board. And in my opinion, I think it's going to end up being the best pro quarterback in this draft, and takes Dwayne Haskins with the number 10 pick.
All right. Interesting. I mean, I don't disagree that he is probably going to be the most successful quarterback. Does that mean he'll have a great career? Maybe not, because this quarterback class isn't the best. But I mean, Dwayne Haskins is pretty good.
My favorite quarterback is Murray, and then my second one is not Haskins. I'm not gonna say it because I'm probably gonna draft him later. But go ahead.
Haskins is too short for Elway, says Jeffrey Bob.
Yeah, he needs a 7-footer.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so the Bengals are on the board, and there's a lot of very interesting options here, and somehow DK Metcalf has fallen out of the top 10, and I don't know, would they pull the trigger on DK Metcalf? Would they make that mistake? No, I'm just kidding, guys. I know a lot of people love DK Metcalf, so I don't want to talk.
I thought you were going that way. I was like, is Noobo going to take it?
Nah. I don't know, man. It's tough. There's a lot of good guys still on the board that I'm just trying to get into the minds of the Bengals and see who they would possibly take here. I got to give him Devin Bush, man. Unfortunately, I'm going to give him Devin Bush because I know a lot of Ravens fans really want Devin Bush. I know, and I'm sorry that I'm giving him to the Bengals, but I think that would be the best pick for them. That would really, especially since they just lost Vontaze Burfict, who was
exactly
as much of his reputation as he has, that he's, a dirty player. He was still their, he was their CJ Mosley, so I think they're going to go ahead and take Devin Bush there in this case.
Makes sense.
I agree with both of your picks for your last two picks. I think Haskins, if he goes there into the Broncos, even if the Broncos weren't thinking about drafting a quarterback, they might not just be willing to pass on Haskins. Devin Bush makes too much sense. The only problem with that is we had to see Devin Bush in our division, so that's the only thing I don't like. But now I have the Packers. So the Packers in the offseason went all in on defense, right? They signed a bunch of defensive players, including our own Zadarius Smith. And then I was like, damn, should I put Sweat next to him? Should I put Gary, a guy that is sliding, right? Which is something that me and Noobo had talked about. There's so much talent that I wouldn't be surprised a guy like Gary sliding even more.
Right.
But I was like, damn, they have a new head coach, offensive-minded. Who's the receivers over there? I was like, they only have Devontae Adams. So I was like, okay, they don't have a tight end, they don't have a receiver, so I'm leaning that direction. So I'm going with the guy that Mr. Noobo was mentioning, DK Metcalf. And it is because I think they see DK and this huge monstrosity, 6'4", they can run. And even though he's not a complete receiver or a perfect receiver, I think the thought about pairing him with Rodgers, they're going to be loving that. They need to create mismatch against in that division. They don't have a receiver, and the best weapon is a quarterback. I think they go DK Metcalf.
That's dangerous.
All right, so next up is pick number 13, and this kind of ties in with my last pick. So this is where I think the Broncos at number 10 would have traded back to the number 13 spot, and the Dolphins actually would have taken Dwayne Haskins at number 10, because obviously the Dolphins right now, Ryan Fitzpatrick's just not going to be the answer. I mean, he might be the answer for a year short term, be a good guy to learn from. So because we're not making draft day trades, that's why I ended up taking, Haskins to the Broncos, and we're leaving the Dolphins here at 13. So if that were the case, I still think the Dolphins have that strong need at quarterback, and there still is a pretty attractive quarterback out there. And I'm going to take him here with the Dolphins, and we're going to give them Drew Lock.
Wow. Okay.
Drew Lock.
Well, you said that Ryan Fitzpatrick might be the guy for the year. How about more like 8 games? He'll probably
right. He'll be a superstar for 8 games.
Yeah, exactly. Not a bad pick, though. I can see it happening.
That's one of the guys that I like more than Haskins, by the way. I have another guy, but that's one.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. All right, the Falcons. So the Falcons are an interesting team because they're not too far removed from going to a Super Bowl. And I still think they have a very good team, probably one of the most complete teams when they are healthy in the league. But they've had issues the past 2 years, or not the past 2 years, the past few years, some years, with, drafting edge players. Last year they took Well, I know they took Tack McKinley recently. I don't know if I think that was like 2 years ago. And then, of course, Vic Beasley hasn't really turned out to be the player they hoped. So do they go edge here since you have someone like Rashawn Gary that fell out of the top 10? I think they will. They gotta pull the trigger again. They really want to get a pass rush there, especially when you're in a division with Drew Brees and Cam Newton, even though he might be injured. And so I'm gonna go ahead and give him Rashawn Gary. They take another edge player.
Wow.
I love Gary. I just think they might use a lineman at this point.
Okay.
Not hating the pick, but so before I make the 15 selection, I want Noobo and Fred. If you have anybody, can you read how the grades are? If people are loving it, they're hating it, they think we're crazy, they're tuning out.
Marcus wanted me to take Josh Jacobs for the Falcons, interestingly.
What?
So, yep.
No, I disagree. Marcus, there should be no running back in the first round of this draft. Any other comments that we seeing?
Just like
nothing I'm seeing on my end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think also we have Noobo has been on track, keeping us up to date with the comments.
Yeah.
And I haven't been going to the comments because I don't want anything to break. So I'm trying to have this thing stable. So
shout out to Sam Reese, man. He's always in the watching the podcast and watching the live streams. Shout out to Sam, bro.
That's awesome.
Shout out to you, bro. We do appreciate the support. So Washington, another interesting team. We have Fred picking all the quarterbacks. So I don't know if I should leave quarterbacks alone until the next pick for Fred. But the problem with Washington has two. Well, they have holes all over the place, but they don't have any playmaker on the receiving side, and they don't have any playmaker on the quarterback side. The question is for them, do they go receiver, right? I don't think so because the quarterback is the most important. Case Keenum is trash, guys. This is why they pay a 4th-round pick for Flacco, because Case Keenum is bad. And Alex Smith is good, but who knows what he's going to be. Now, my pick might surprise you guys. Who do you guys think I might pick?
For the Redskins?
Yeah, it's a quarterback. Who will you pick?
Oh, man.
I have an idea. People are saying Daniel Jones, but I think you're actually going to go Will Grier.
Will Grier.
Yeah?
Okay. I think, and people might hate on me because of this, but I think Will Grier is a better quarterback than Haskins, to be honest. And
really,
I like him more than Haskins, and I like him more than Jones. I like Locke. I would have given Locke as my second quarterback in Grill. It's something about him. He's greedy. I don't know. There's definitely something about him that I like. So that's my pick, Will Grier.
All right. Well, the Panthers can't run to the draft table fast enough. Because there's a guy sitting out there that fills a big need for them. They've got obviously a real challenge with pass rush. Julius Peppers retired, so that they not that Julius Peppers was dominating at the end of his career, but they do have a huge hole there to fill at the edge. And Montez Sweat still sitting there out of Mississippi State. That they are licking their chops to get up to the draft board and draft Montez Sweat out of Mississippi State.
Makes a lot of sense, for sure. So, Sonny, Marcus is saying that how come you can reach, but he can't?
Because people tend to reach for quarterbacks and not necessarily for receivers. You can. I mean, I'm not. No, I'm gonna call you out. I mean, I think that's horrible. But you do you. Oh man.
All right, so there's someone in the chat that wants a shout out, and he has a very interesting name. So let me see if I can pronounce this correctly. Asmodeus Thanatos. I don't know if I think I might have said it right. Yeah,
well
sounds
done.
like a Greek god,
That sounds.
Appreciate you tuning in, man.
Appreciate you, man. Hopefully you're liking or hating. That's all good. The picks.
Yep. All right, so the Giants are on the board once again here with the Browns' former pick, which they traded away, Odell Beckham Jr., to the freaking AFC North. Thank you, Dave Gettleman, once again. But it's all good. We'll handle him. No problem. Anyways, so the Giants, they have one of the worst rosters in the league, easily. They have so many needs, and Gettleman is just getting rid of their whole team, and I just don't understand it. So there's some interesting players still on the board here. You have, of course, Brian Burns, who I really like, and I wish he would fall to the Ravens, but I just don't see it happening. You also have, well, I mean, they already took a tackle earlier on, so that's not an issue. You have the tight ends still on the board. You have Cody Ford. But I think I am going to have to go ahead and take Brian Burns here. It just makes the most sense. It's the best value, in my opinion, and it fills a need because they traded away Olivier Vernon as well. So,
right.
Yep.
I think that's awesome. I think the Giants in this mock draft, you can go so many ways. Brian Burns is just a great pick. Would they go with a guy like Cody Ford and just say, you know what, F it, we're just going to fix this O-line. We're going to have our right tackle. They had Hernandez last year, left guard. We're going to plug in Cody to the right guard and fix it like that. Or would they try to replace the wide receiver that they just lost? I mean, they have a lot of options, so that would be very difficult to predict. But I like the Burns pick.
Yep.
So now I go with the Skulls. The Vikings, and they have that overpriced guy over there, my cousin. He's over there chilling, making too much money for the production. I mean, I'm not saying that he's trash. That's what I say about Keenum. He can play, but he's just get paid a lot of money. Now the problem with them, they do have some holes, but I think the biggest problem is O-lineman. And since Noobo didn't pick it for the Giants, I'll go ahead and pick Cody Ford.
Man.
Yeah, a lot of Ravens fans right now are hating life that I picked Cody Ford. I have to be honest. I wish Cody Ford, and you guys have heard it before, I wish Cody Ford was there, but yeah, I don't think he's going to make it. And I think the Vikings, it makes sense for them.
All right. Well, at 19, that brings the Tennessee Titans on the clock. They made some questionable moves, bringing in Ryan Tannehill to be their backup to Marcus Mariota. Didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I guess they got and they have some faith in. They have some needs at wide receiver. They did, Delaney Walker at tight end. He's getting pretty old. They did end up adding Adam Humphries, which will help them out in the slot. But they need that outside guy. They need that burner, somebody that can make plays. And I'm going to take Marquise Brown here for the Tennessee Titans. Yep.
Hollywood
Brown.
I probably would have gone Noah Fant there for the Titans personally.
That's
not a bad pick either. Right.
Yeah. But Marquise Brown will definitely add speed to that receiving core, no doubt. And by the way, Marcus is just absolutely hating every single pick we're making, pretty much. But it's all good.
We're glad you're enjoying this mock draft.
That's how mock drafts are, man.
Yep. And Sir Savage, yeah, we are echoing. Sorry about that again.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Steelers. Oh, great. I have to pick for the Steelers. Let me move down to the 5th round and see who they could possibly reach for again. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, they did that last year, right?
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I loved seeing that, and I hope they do that again this year. Hopefully, they take a 6th round pick in the first again. But okay, so the Steelers. What are their needs now? Of course, they don't have Antonio Brown anymore. So would they go wide receiver here? It's possible. But looking at the board here, they also lost their right tackle, Marcus Gilbert. So I see someone here that's still on the board that could possibly fill in there. I'm not sure if he does play right tackle, but I think he could possibly move over. But the Steelers also really need help on defense, but I don't want them to have a better defense. So I'm kind of.
Now, don't pick with your heart. We're trying to be honest.
That's true. Okay, I think I have to take DeAndre Baker here. I think, DeAndre Baker. Yeah,
You got Baker.
I think it makes the most sense. I was gonna take Andre Dillard. However, I have to go because they really need help in the secondary. So like, they need it. So yeah.
DeAndre Baker it is.
Yep.
Baker's a good pick. I think I like Byron Murphy a little bit better. And the other thing is the Steelers haven't been playing too much man. I feel like they have been playing like a little bit more zone to prevent the corners to be burned, and I think Murphy's a little bit better there. Anyway, let me go with the Seattle Seahawks, and thank you for chipping Earl Thomas here. Loving life with that.
Yep.
Seattle needs a safety, and in here, can they take the BSer's boy, Nasir Adderley? Maybe.
Could be a fit.
Maybe, yeah. No, definitely it's a fit because they need a free safety, and Adderley is one of the better ones in this draft. But they also need edge protection or edge rushers and corners. And since Mr. Noobo left Byron Murphy sitting there, I think Byron Murphy will be a great pick for them. So I'll be picking Byron Murphy.
Okay.
Makes a lot of sense. They got to rebuild that Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think they should take Nasir, though, personally.
I do, too. You know me. I'm high on that guy, man. I think he's the next big thing at free safety in the league. I think he's the next ball-hawking, true free safety. And that's just, he did come from a small school, but this guy, I mean, when you watch him on tape, he flies over the field, and his instincts are unreal.
Yep.
I can definitely see them going Nasir. Definitely.
Yeah.
So we got to the Ravens pick.
Yeah.
So I will let
Here we
whoever's in the chat put who will you pick. If you see our stream down below, it's all the picks. I have been updating it as we go. That's why you guys see me writing stuff or changing. It's because I'm writing every pick that the guys make. Our mock draft, we didn't want to make it like a pre-made mock draft. I didn't know what Noobo was going to pick or Fred. We said like, no. Each of us, let's just react as the draft goes. Because I think that's how a draft goes, right? You don't know what the other teams, you might have an idea, but you don't know quite, what they're picking. So with that being said, Noobo.
Hold on, guys. Do you hear that? I think there's a train coming. Do you hear it?
Come on, man. You're taking Kill Harry here before you take Butler. But what are people saying in the chat?
A lot of people are saying Hakeem Butler. That's for sure, but they're probably just my followers, because I've gotten a lot of people on the Hakeem hype train.
Brainwashing.
Let's see, but before I wanted to mention something before we get into this. Marcus is actually saying he gave us ratings so far. So he says he liked 3 out of my 4 picks. He liked 3 out of Fred's picks, 3 out of 4 Fred's picks. And he only liked 1 of your picks, Sonny, so far. So.
Okay, so can you guys, and you guys are more experienced YouTubers than me, can you tell me how can I ban people? It's all good, Marcus.
Man, if you don't got haters, you're not doing it right.
Hey, it's all good. You watch Will Greer pick 6 to the Giants in the draft, and then you're gonna be aiming like, yo, you were right. You actually underdrafted him.
We're just playing, Marcus. We love you, man.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead, Sonny. What do you got, man?
Oh, no. Mr. BS is the first one to pick. This is his pick.
All right. So we all know this team's 2 glaring needs: pass rush and wide receiver. And the wild card really here is Eric DeCosta. What way does he go in his first draft as GM? There is a pretty attractive piece sitting there at Farrell from Clemson as an edge rusher sitting out there. So, I mean, that's very, very tempting. But I think we all know the transition that this team's going through, the commitment that this team has made to the new style offense and to Lamar Jackson. And when you look at the wide receiver position, obviously right now the only two guys that we know that, have potential to really come in and start are Willie Snead and Chris Moore. Those are the only two guys on this roster right now that we've seen any kind of real game production out of. So they've got an obvious need there. And they made some comments. John Harbaugh said that they wanted big-bodied guys that aren't afraid to block, that are going to commit to doing more than just catching the football, because that's, when you're going to be running the football 60 to 65% of the time, your wide receivers have to act like an extension of your offensive line.
Yep.
And there are a couple guys out there from the wide receiver position that I think at the 22 pick, the Ravens could make the typical Baltimore decision to trade back and still be able to get the guys that they want. But obviously we're not doing that here with this mock draft. But that's not going to keep me from picking the guy that I think is the best fit for this team. I think makes a whole lot of sense. And I'm going to go and N'Keal Harry here, the wide receiver. Yeah, I just think that he brings everything to the table. 6'2", 228, big blocking guy, aggressive guy, can go high point a ball. He's got that kind of Anquan Bolden's type style of play where he can, box guys out and really use his body to his advantage. And that's what he's going to have to do. And that's what this offense needs. So I think Harry's the best fit here for the Ravens at 22.
All right.
I might lose my mind if they go Harry. That's my boy. Jersey's on order. Jersey is on order right now.
I still think, like I said, they trade back to get him and maybe get an extra 3 or get an extra 4 to get Harry. So I don't think it happens at number 22, but I ultimately think the Ravens walk away with Harry in this draft.
Now, I have a question for you before we throw it to Noobo. If they trade back, who do you think they will trade back with? Because this mock draft is falling similar to what I had last week, or not, when I put 4-0. My mock there 4-0, and I'll tell you who I traded there with. So go ahead. Who would you trade?
Man, I don't know. I could see the Raiders because they have so many draft picks. I think they have a total of 8 picks in this draft, 4 in the top 35, which is absolutely unreal. And that, again, we talked about the Raiders needing some edge rush help. And again, Farrell's sitting there. Farrell's probably, in my opinion, a top 10 overall prospect in this draft. And he's still sitting there on the board at 22. I think it makes a lot of sense for the Raiders to trade up, go after Farrell, and keep him from getting picked by the Texans or somebody like that.
Right. Makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Go ahead, Noob.
So, I agree with pretty much a lot of things that you guys said. I do think that trading down is a very, very real possibility. We might even trade out of the first round. I could see that happening. I could also see maybe, because the way this has fallen, the top tight ends are still on the board, so maybe the Patriots will, be an option.
Right.
But I could definitely see us trading down here. Now, just the question is, because I think our biggest needs, probably the biggest need on the team is definitely wide receiver. You can't have Willie Snead as your number 1.
Right.
So wide receiver is definitely, if we don't take one in the first, we'll most likely take it in if we trade down to the second or trade up into the second. I think we're going to take at least 2 receivers very early on. But this is tough because there's still some good players on the board, like you guys said. And even Andre Dillard, an offensive lineman who is probably one of the top lineman prospects in this draft. And I think that would absolutely be a Ravens pick. I think they would go BPA here. However, it doesn't matter because we are on the Hakeem hype train, and not everybody's going to like it. But we're taking Hakeem Butler. Hakeem Butler is the guy. And let me tell you why he is my number 1 receiver. If you guys didn't see, those of you that are subscribed to my channel, I did a top 5 receivers in this draft. And, of course, Hakeem Butler is my number 1 for reasons that don't get me wrong, I like N'Keal Harry, and I know, Sonny, that's your favorite receiver, and it's for good reason because N'Keal probably has, if not the best hands in this draft class, definitely up there. He's a really good route runner. But I think Hakeem Butler, the reason I love Hakeem Butler so much is because you have to game plan for him. You're not just going to leave a 6'5", 225 dude just on an island, right? You have to game plan for this guy. And I think his ability to adjust for the ball in the air and just all the things he does so well, he just has this ability to just murder a cornerback or a safety and just throw them on the ground and keep going for the touchdown. So Hakeem Butler hype train, guys. True. Let's go.
Okay, so before I make my pick for the Ravens, is there any comments on the chat room?
Yeah, let me check it out. So, okay, so they're talking about, I love the pick if we trade back. Imagine if they took Calvin Ridley. They just never let go of that, right? Last year. Harry is a small version of Hakeem. Yeah, I guess, in a way. Patriots and Chiefs are possibilities for trades. Yes, Patriots jump up. Ravens, Kelvin Harmon, not in the first round. And it's just a bunch of people saying, Hakeem or Harry, whatever. So.
Okay. So let me tell you before I throw it to Noobo for the selection. So for me, obviously Harry is the pick, although I wouldn't be mad with Farrell, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'll be okay with that, I think. He actually can not only play the outside, he can probably be kicked in a little bit and play the D end. And
Yeah, very versatile.
hopefully help our pass rushers, our young pass rushers. But so if it was me picking, I'll concur with Birdland. I would have been Harry. Not because Butler's not good. I just think Butler, you can probably get him in the second. And I'm a big proponent of getting these two dudes. Or A.J. Brown, which I love. Mm-hmm. So, that being said, in my mock draft, it didn't feel like this. But Harry was there and a lot of the receivers. And I think a couple teams that I can see us trading with. With the Rams need O-linemen, and specifically they need a center. So Bradbury's there. They can use the tackle. I forgot his name. Dillard. The other team that I can see is the Chiefs. The Chiefs need at the end. They need pass rushes. So Farrell's there. They might want Farrell. Same thing with the Colts. They might want to jump ahead and get Farrell. Because I think a team that might be targeting Farrell will be the Eagles. And I don't see the Patriots necessarily jumping to us because both tight ends are there. If there was one tight end gone, I would have seen them be more inclined to trade up. But those are the teams. I think if somebody wants to tackle because they know Houston needs a lineman, either the tackle or the center, Bradbury or Dillard. So those are the teams in how this mock draft is falling that I think might be willing to trade. I had in my mock draft us going to 31st and getting 2/3 for compensation. So that'll be awesome. So yeah, that's my opinion. You can go ahead, Noobo, for the Texans.
All right, the Texans are on the clock, and yeah, it made a lot of sense, Sonny, what you said. I definitely, if we trade down at the early second round and we take Hakeem Butler, that would be my dream. If hopefully he falls there, but anyway. So the Texans, I think it's clear what their biggest need is, and it just so happens to intersect with who we still have on the board, who fell all the way to number 23. I don't think there's any questions here. I think it makes a lot of sense for them to take Andre Dillard here out of Washington State.
Completely.
Really got to protect Deshaun Watson there. And when you have the best receiver in the NFL in DeAndre Hopkins, you got to give Deshaun Watson time. So, yeah.
Completely agree.
That's a slam dunk. That's easy. That was an easy pick. Which is why I think the Ravens, if the draft falls like this, the Ravens should be getting so many calls for Dillard and Bradbury because the Texans will go with one of the two. They need interior O-line, they need out tackle. So I can see us getting a lot of calls. So the Ravens, we get them back. I think a guy that they need. They just lost Cook. For me, this will be just an easy pick for them as well. I think Noah Font makes too much sense in here. They don't have that tight end. Or I can see either one. Noah Font is a decent blocker. Heckerson is a little bit better blocker.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they will go ahead and draft a running back later in the draft. So with that being said, I think they're gonna go with Noah Font because he's a little bit more explosive, giving Carr more toys. He should be loving life.
Yeah, man. Again, no excuses left
No
for Derek
excuses.
Carr.
Yep.
All right, so at pick 25, we have the 2017 Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. This is a team that I think could make that splash pick at running back, right? I feel like they're the one team that has the biggest glaring hole at running back position. They've got a decent set of wide receivers. You know, they've got obviously they believe in Carson Wentz as their leader at quarterback. They could use a little bit of help on the offensive line. So the two needs I see here for the Eagles on the offensive side, running back. On the defensive side, this is where I could see my guy Nazir Adderley falling to, because they definitely need some help on the back end of that defense. Oh man, I think there's more value later in the draft at the running back position. So I think the Eagles play the smart card here and hold off on Josh Jacobs, because I think that would be a good fit with the Eagles here. And I think they take the smarter pick by taking the best free safety in this draft, Nazir Adderley.
I knew you were going to pick him at some point today. It was a matter of time. It was a matter of time.
It's a good pick, though.
Yeah.
I can't fault you for that one. All right, so the Colts are on the clock now. But before I get started, Asmodeus Thanatos wants to know what is our choice alcoholic beverages. Me, I don't really drink too much, to be honest with you. I'll drink occasionally. I'm more of a smoker, to be honest with you guys. It's legal in California, so don't call the police on me. But yeah, I don't really drink that much, to be honest. I'll have, some beer, whatever. I don't really have a favorite. Dos Equis is pretty good, but so.
I'm a big IPA guy, so I love beer. We do on our show on Birdland BS, we do a brew of the week every week. We've got a great sponsor in the liquor stop up here in Bel Air, Maryland. They help us out every week and provide us some good drinks. And the one that we had this week, it's a local brewery here in Maryland called Diamondback. Their Green Machine IPA. It was amazing. And it's right off of Key Highway. So if you're familiar with that in the Baltimore area or from the Baltimore area, swing by. It's a really good beer to pick up and not too expensive.
There you go.
I would say for me, Dos Equis and Corona. I'm from Puerto Rico. I'm Caribbean blooded. I prefer rum mixed drinks. Obviously, for the heat of the Caribbean, a good rum mixed drink, kick back in the beach, guys. Thing of beauty. That's just me. I'm like Noobo. I'm not much of a drinker. I'll drink more socially. I don't drink by myself at home. But like if I'm gathering a bunch of people, I'll drink beer or whatever. But yeah, back home I always prefer mixed drinks. And if you come to my house, that's what my preferred beverage is as well.
There you go, guys. All right. So the Colts, and there's some interesting players still on the board. We still have Clelin Ferrell, and I do think he is the BPA right now. So I'm going to have to give him to him. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think they're happy that he fell all the way to 26. I know they did sign Justin Houston, but if you can add Clelin Ferrell either as a rotational piece or more have him rush from the inside maybe, that could be a very nasty pass rush. And I think that was definitely their weakest point last year. I mean, they're already a playoff team. You can see that now that they have Andrew Luck back, they really have immensely improved. They just need a little bit of help on the defense. Their secondary is starting to build up there. So if you can complement that with a pass rush, that would definitely be a good option for them.
Yeah, I think they were running to the draft board for that one as well. Farrell's sitting there. That was easy.
And actually, I will say that I made a mistake because I think the Raiders should have drafted him at 24 with both tight ends there and look for the tight end at 27. That's on me. I think if that situation happens, I think the Raiders actually will go instead of Noah Fant with Farrell, and then whatever fails, both tight ends are not gonna go by. I mean,
They could have got both of them.
Yeah, they could have got both of them. So that's on me. That's on me because even if they didn't get Font, getting Hawkinson, it would have been fine. So that being said, so we have our tight end, we have our linebacker. They need edge, and me stupid enough. Who was the guy hitting on me? Who was it?
Marcus.
Marcus. Now you can hate. You can hate. So they need corners, but the top 3 corners are out. Although there's a couple more that I love, I just think there might be a little bit of a reach. The problem with the Raiders, they need help everywhere. Well, minus on
wide receiver.
Yeah, wide receiver. That's stacked. At this point, they have enough toys, but on defense, they were very bad. They were very, very bad. And a guy that I think it might work for them. So if you think about it, they need a safety as well, but and this is a place that I can see Nasir Adderley going.
Yep.
But what I'm thinking is there's another Clemson boy there.
Yep.
That I think it makes sense for them, because especially teams were running all over them, and I think this will help them. And it's Christian Wilkins.
Yep.
The tackle from Clemson.
Okay. Good pick.
Yeah, you stole him from me. I had the Chargers sitting there again, licking their chops, waiting for it. He made a lot of sense there in LA for the Chargers. But now that Wilkins is off the board, I'm going to shift my focus a little bit with the Chargers. I think one thing that we saw, especially in the playoffs, Phillip Rivers needs some protection, and he needs some protection on the right side of the line. And yes, a lot of the best offensive linemen have been kind of taken off the board here, but a guy that I think is undervalued and would be a good fit here for the Chargers, Greg Little out of Ole Miss. I think he makes a lot of sense.
I agree. Greg Little does make a lot of sense. I like that pick.
Thank you, sir.
Pretty good pick. Yeah, definitely they would have taken Christian Wilkins if he was still there. Coach, what's up, man? Welcome to the live stream.
What's up, Coach?
All right. Sonny, you're coming back into the light. That's 2 in a row for you. All right, there you go. Marcus approves.
Whoa. Okay, so this is my pick now, right? No. It's your. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a little behind picks. Yeah, sorry.
It's all good. The Chiefs, and I mean, they definitely need defensive help. That's for sure. But who's still on the board? They definitely need some edge rushers now that they lost Justin Houston. I mean, they did franchise tag D4. Oh, no, he got traded. Yeah, that's right. So they definitely need edge help. But who's still on the board?
People love Ferguson, which you and me are not big into it.
Oh, yeah.
There's Polite that I think is more like an early second. I think those will be the top 2 on the edge.
I probably would have taken Polite, before the combine because, I don't know, I feel like he's going to fall because, I don't know, just people didn't like his interviews for some reason, I guess. But let me take a look here and see who I have on the board. Would they do a little dark horse pick here and take Josh Jacobs? Now that they don't have Kareem Hunt and with... but I do think that they really like Damian Williams, so I don't know. I could see the Chiefs being a dark horse here, and taking Josh Jacobs. However, that's not their biggest need, so I think I'm going to give them Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the safety out of Florida, because, of course, Eric Berry's gone. I think they could use some safety help. I don't know. I just don't see that many defensive players here that I think would help them out immediately. So
I agree with you that they absolutely need help in the secondary, and safety is one of those positions. Yes, they did obviously add Matthew through free agency.
Yeah.
But I think the better option there that was still on the table, Deontay Thompson out of Alabama. You pair him with Matthew, that's a real good combo back there. I honestly don't see them. I see Thompson and Adderley very close, almost like a 1A, 1B. In my opinion, just my opinion.
No, I love Thompson a lot for sure, but yeah.
I agree with Noob. I mean, I'm not hating on the pick. I just think I hope. I mean, if they draft Josh Jacobs, that's fine. I don't like that pick there. I think they're in a position that they can trade back in that position.
Yeah.
The other thing that you can think of is an interior D lineman. So there's Tyler Lee and Drexler Lawrence. Those are two good D linemen still there. I mean, it is a hard pick. Linebacker too. They need a linebacker, a linebacker. So they can go with the guy from Bama, which his name is escaping me. Anyway, so the Packers are on the clock. And the Packers, again, putting that much money on defense. I think if the right defensive player is there, they will take him. They do need O-line help. They do need a safety. So I can see them going Deontay Thompson.
Wow.
That's not my pick, but I can see that.
Oh, okay.
But going back to, they need to put playmakers on Rodgers, and they need to keep working on that running game. I actually think you go ahead and pick T.J. Hawkinson and say Hawkinson is that intermediate middle of the guy. Now they have DK Metcalf, Hawkinson, and Devontae Adams. Good tools for Rodgers to excel. Paul Hawkinson can help you in the run game. So I think they need a tight end. So I'll take T.J. Hawkinson.
Good pick.
Good pick. Yeah, I agree. All right, 31. We got the defending NFC champions, the Los Angeles Rams. Rams here, I think they need a little bit of help on the defensive side of the ball. They did re-sign Dante Fowler, and they did pick up Clay Matthews in free agency. I think that they're short-term answers. I think they'll be good for a year or two. But you lost Sue on the defensive tackle, and you're going to lose a little bit of pass rush because, let's face it, Clay Matthews isn't quite what he was a few years back. And with Polite sitting there with his hand raised, ready to be picked, I think he makes a lot of sense for the Rams here. So I have them taking Polite out of Florida. Yeah,
I think that's a good pick. I can see them also going with Lawrence as well to try to pair him next to Donald. But Polite, no argument with Polite.
I think, personally, I think the pick there would have been Garrett Bradbury for the Rams.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I said earlier. Yeah, I agree.
But it wouldn't be bad because they definitely need some help on the offensive line. Got to keep Goff upright, and you got to get some help for Gurley in the running game. So I agree.
They lost their centers for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, last pick of the draft. It's the Patriots, our second favorite team. So I think they're pretty pissed off because both Noah Fant and T.J. Hawkinson are no longer on the board, and of course, not only did Gronk retire, but we also did see reports that they were trying really hard to get Jared Cook, who of course ended up going with the Saints. So I think they're frustrated that the top two tight ends are off the board. So what else could they possibly need? What would Bill Belichick take here?
I see a very big Bill Belichick pick here, like a guy. I don't know if you want me to tell you, but
sure, go ahead. What are you thinking?
There's two boys that I can see. I can see your boy Butler, but even more A.J. Brown makes a lot of sense in New England.
Good point. Good point. They definitely, that was probably one of their weakest spots, is they didn't have an outside threat at receiver. But would A.J. Brown, I think he could fit with them. I think I'm going to give them, oh man.
It's hard. What is the, you can use help from the chat. What is the chat saying?
People are saying Irv Smith, but I think that would be definitely a little bit of a reach.
They need some help on the defensive line too. Let's not forget, and the Patriots are very, very smart when it comes to the draft. I know, it's real easy for them to make that splash pick on the offensive side of the ball, but I really think they've got a big hole at defensive line, and Dexter Lawrence sitting out there still would be an attractive piece for the Patriots.
It's a good point. That's a good point.
He's a big boy.
He is a big boy.
And they also need edge help as well, since they did lose Trey Flowers. So, I think I am going to go defensive line, but I'm not going to go Dexter Lawrence. I'm actually going to go Jerry Tillery from Notre Dame.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're similar. I could see Tillery or Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, either one I think could have been good. So, recapping, and you can see it down here. So, I'm going to recap it real quick. Arizona, Murray. San Francisco, Bosa. Jets go with Josh Allen. Devin White, a middle linebacker, made the top 4. Greedy Williams to the Buccaneers. Juwan Taylor, tackle from New York. Jonah Williams, tackle to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 8, Quentin Williams. They will love that pick. Ed Oliver goes to Buffalo. Haskins falls all the way to 10 to the Broncos. 11, the Bungles pick Devin Bush. We got the Packers taking the first receiver, DK Metcalf. Drew Lock falls to the Dolphins. We have the Dirty Birds from Atlanta, Rashawn Gary. We have a surprising pick. Some people might call it a reach. Those people might be a little bit drunk, but Will Greer to the Redskins. Remember who's the owner. They're kind of crazy over there. Sorry for any Redskins fan that I offended. Montez Sweat just fall to the Panthers at 16. 17, the Giants come again and they say, F that quarterback. We gonna go with Brian Burns. Cody Ford, the guy that we want, goes to the Vikings. We got Tennessee goes Hollywood Brown. The Steelers get Baker. Not Baker Mayfield, DeAndre Baker, corner from Georgia. Seahawks follow with another corner, Byron Murphy. The Ravens get the best receiver on the draft, N'Keal Harry.
No.
I was waiting for you. The Texans, they need linemen. O-linemen. So they go Andrew Diller, Washington State tackle. Noah Fant. That was a stupid pick by whoever picked that guy over there for the Raiders. Nasir Adderley. Of course, the BSers will pick Adderley in this draft just to make me look bad. At 25. And we have Clayton Farrell. Who knows how he made it to 26, but he was there. He should have got a 24, but again, an idiot pick Font. And then the Raiders go with Wilkins, another Clemson boy. Greg Little goes to the Chargers. Mississippi tackle. And then we have safety, Garden Johnson to KC. The Patriots are very upset when Green Bay goes and picks Hawkinson, the tight end. Polite to the Rams. And the Patriots finish it out with interior D lineman Jerry Tillery. So I would like to know, how is our draft? What is the grades?
Well, let me tell you, Coach Evans says that whoever picked N'Keal Harry is fired.
Oh man, like I said, I think he's a good fit. I think he makes a lot of sense for what this team's trying to do, and what this, what the wide receiver core is going to be asked to do moving forward in this offense.
Yep, definitely. All right, so let's check out the chat, guys.
Yeah.
So Jeffrey Bob wants to know, would the Pats take a quarterback in this draft?
So I think
a lot of things would have to happen for that to happen, I think.
I think in this mock draft, it wouldn't make sense for the Patriots. Like, if they like Jones, that's a pick that they can make. They have a lot of resources that they can get on Rosen. The purpose for me not taking 6 a quarterback was, well, it was different reasons, but one of them was the Giants should go ahead and try to trade for Rosen and keep those 2 first-round picks for needs. for best player available in their area of needs. But I can see the Patriots going 32nd to a Jones if they like him.
There you go.
You think Rosen's a better option at quarterback than Haskins or Locke?
It's not that he's a better option. Like if Rosen would have been in this draft, I think Rosen probably would have been rated better than Haskins. I think Locke is better than Haskins. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But if Rosen costs you a second round pick, for example, value, you can still get your tackle, and you can still get your edge rusher, and you can still get your quarterback. That's why I think if you can trade a second round pick for the Giants for Rosen, it makes more sense. You still have your 2 first round pick, 2 top 20, and now O-line is trash. You can go there. You just lost Werner. So, and who was it? Was it Rashard Gary or I forgot. We got our edge rusher for I have it here for the Giants. Whoever it was. Oh, Brian Burns.
Right.
So yeah. So that I think that makes more sense than that in the second round get a guy like Rosen, right? Because we'll be through a trade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right, so Marcus has given us grades. Are you guys interested in hearing them?
Sure.
Let me know if I need to ban him. That's all I want to know.
All right, so he gives BS a grade of a B+.
What?
All right. I'll take it.
He gave me an A-, but
Nice.
he gives me an F for not giving for giving the Giants Brian Burns, so he wouldn't fall to the Ravens. So, but A- overall. And for you, Sonny, a B-, so not too bad.
Oh, whoa. For all the trash talk, I thought I was going to get like a D.
Yeah.
I was looking for his name to see I'm Googling, how can you ban? Nah, I'm joking. I would never ban anybody unless you're just spilling just hate stuff, not against me, against just people or whatever. You can hate on my picks. That's fine. It's part of it. But hey, B-, I'll take it. I don't know how Noobo got an A-. That's questionable. Noobo, did you pay him, Noobo?
Hey man, Marcus is my guy. He knows what's up. He's on the train.
Gotcha.
Right. Hey guys, man, this was a lot of fun. I hadn't done a mock draft live yet. I did a few just with some friends shooting the crap around. But this was a lot of fun getting together with you guys and doing this.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so let's take maybe 2 more comments and then we're just gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. If you guys have any questions, you guys feel free to let it in the chat. I'll go ahead and check it out. Asmodeus gives us a B+.
Not bad.
Don't forget, teams can dig up old tweets so people drop, says Jeffrey Bob. Sure, if
That's true.
if there's like another gas mask situation.
I was just about to say that. That's funny.
You know.
Never know what's going to pop up on draft day.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's the challenge with these mock drafts too. You know, when you're not trading picks around, you're not doing anything like that. This obviously this mock draft and this draft is not going to go this way. There's going to be a lot of teams moving around, a lot of players moving around, but yeah, it's still fun to play around with it.
Yep, no doubt. So,
Who is the team that you see more likely to trade up? If I will ask you guys, who's the team, not necessarily to the Ravens, who's the team that you see them?
It's got to be the Raiders, right? I mean, because they're so loaded with picks. You know, if they've got a guy that they're targeting, you know, they don't want to spread their picks out and just pick a wealth of players. If they see a guy that they really want and go after, I think the Raiders make a lot of sense just because they have the picks. And I think the Patriots also make sense because if they see that tight end that they want and they think that that's their biggest hole, maybe they move up and go after their guy.
yeah. Let me just say there was I did a little bit of a hot take a while ago, which I'm going to stick to. I just have this feeling. I don't know, you know, it might not happen, but I think the Redskins would trade up for Kyler Murray because I think the Redskins are a team that want to bring back some excitement to their fan base. So I could see them being a little dark horse sleeper for, you know, to trade up into the first pick. I don't know.
I like that. I was gonna go with a different team. I was gonna go with the Dolphins.
There you
The
go.
Dolphins
Yeah.
are probably the team that is most desperate at quarterback. I can see them also. The thing is, we have this guy named Rosen that is floating around, right? They will see who gets it, and whoever gets it, that the quarterback need for that team just gets out.
Right.
But right now, if it is not, and there's rumors out there that the Patriots might offer the 32nd pick for Rosen. This is just rumors that I saw from NFL Network, I think it was. But the problem that both the Redskins and the Dolphins have, they will have to trade a lot of assets to go, let's say, top 6, top 5. The Redskins did that with RG3. I think they might be a little gun shy because of that, versus the Dolphins might be just desperate. Unless they're just saying, like, this season is a wasted season. Let's just gotta get best player available, tank, and then next year hopefully we get Tua or the guy from Oregon, Herbert, I think it was.
Depends if Dan Snyder took his meds that day or not, man. Because if that guy gets amped up and he wants Kyler Murray, he will mortgage the future to go after it, knowing him.
Yeah.
True that.
Yeah, especially if Kyle doesn't go number 1 and they stick with Rosen, then I can see somebody calling the Jets at that third pick. Yeah, and again, in my opinion, it will be Redskins or Dolphins because they're probably the two most desperate. And the Redskins make sense going to Noobo because had you seen their stadium half empty, basically
Right.
throughout the whole year? They need some excitement, like Noobo said. So I can see the Redskins too. Those two, I agree. They're probably the highest one. And then the other question that I have for you: if the Ravens will trade up, what will be that nice area that you see them trading up, and who will be that player if he's sliding to that whatever pick you think they will trade up for? I know that's not a Ravens move. Again, we have the Costa. So, but if you hypothetically you think this player, I think they might trade up, who would that be?
The Ravens trading up?
Yeah, like if they trade up. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just saying, like, is there a player, or let me rephrase it, like, is there a player in the draft that you see the Ravens trading up for?
I can't personally. I don't see them doing that just because they're already limited in draft picks in itself. Don't almost speak of as of right now, and moving up in the first round, I mean, it's more and more and more draft picks, and whether it comes from this year or it comes from next year or years after, it's just like you said, it's definitely not a Ravens move, and I don't see anybody out there. Now, there are some pass rushers out there that would be nice, and I think Devin Bush would make a lot of sense here in Baltimore if he fell that far. He'll never fall that far, but if he did fall that far, it'd be great. But if they were going to go after a guy, Bush or maybe one of the top pass rushers in the draft would make sense, but I just don't see him doing it.
Yeah.
So I would say Bush for sure. I think I agree with you. It's not a Ravens thing to do. I actually don't want them to trade up. Let me be clear on that. But I can, if they would do it, I think a guy like Montez Sweat, which I'm not the biggest fan of, Bush. If they think that Pina might leave next year, that might make sense. Not in how our draft board fell. It will have to be somebody. Sorry, it will be somebody fell into like the 17 or 18 spot. They're not gonna go up very much to just burn a bunch of pick. It will be maybe burning a 4th or a 5th to jump 4 or 5 spots. That's what I think.
Yep.
Before we sign off here, let me ask you guys a question because staying in the AFC North, all right, the Cincinnati Bengals are sitting in a pretty interesting spot at the number 11 overall pick. Andy Dalton's probably been one of the more wildly inconsistent quarterbacks, hasn't been able to get it done in the postseason. But the team outside of quarterback isn't that far away from still competing in this league. They just need some more consistency at the quarterback. If one of the top quarterbacks are still available at number 11, let's say a Dwayne Haskins is still sitting there, which I don't think he will be at 11, but let's say he is there. If Locke's still there at 11, do you think the Bengals look at a quarterback here to replace Dalton?
I think so. My mock draft, I don't remember who I mocked to them, but I mocked a quarterback at 11. And going to our mock, the one that we just did, if this was falling like this, I can see them calling, for example, the Lions and say, hey, Denver's there, right? Denver might one, get Haskins. Hey, can I just go up and trade for Haskins? I can see that. That's not something that are going to cost them the farm. That's only you're going up 3 spots. That makes sense. Or with Buffalo. But for sure, thinking that, there's a new coach, there's a new regime.
Yeah.
They don't owe anything
Exactly.
to Dalton. So they might fall in love with one of these quarterbacks. And if they see the possibility of getting them, I can definitely see that.
And especially since Zach, is it Robinson or Taylor? I always get it mixed up. The Bengals coach.
I
It's
forgot
either
his name.
it's either Robinson or Taylor.
Zach
Anyway,
Taylor. It's
Zach Taylor. Okay.
Yeah.
So Zach Taylor is a quarterback guy, right? He was the
Correct.
quarterbacks coach
That's
for the
true.
Rams. So I could see the Bengals going just so Zach Taylor could have his quarterback, so it can really become his team. And Dalton, I mean, he's done what he's done for the Bengals, but it might be time to move on. So
Just think of how different the AFC North is going to look if that happens. You know what I mean? You've got the Ravens moving on from Joe Flacco. You've got the Browns finally finding their guy in Baker Mayfield. The Bengals, if they ended up with a Dwayne Haskins. And then who knows how much longer Roethlisberger is going to be around. It's crazy to think that things are changing over as much as they are in the AFC North.
Yeah, I don't think the Steelers have the balls to do this, but I would love if they draft a quarterback just to make it a complete out of chaos there. That would just like spectacular.
Well, they did pick a quarterback last year.
in the third
Yeah.
round. No, I know.
Yeah,
Mason.
because Roethlisberger, right? Roethlisberger was all up in arms about it. It was like, hey, we could have used another position there. But yeah, it would be interesting to see if the Steelers did that early on in the draft.
That would be
I would love
spectacular.
that. I would
Yeah.
love that.
Yes. So, any more comments in the chat, Noobo, before we close it out?
Okay, so Jose Garcia brought up the fact that the Bengals selected John Ross over Pat Mahomes, so that should haunt them.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Well, Coach, earlier I did see he said that he was pretty pissed off that Hakeem Butler is still on the board, but don't worry, Coach. On my mock draft, Hakeem Butler is the guy, man. Just these guys, they want Harry. So.
It was BS. BS was that pick, but I agree with his BS.
Hey, there's nothing to say that the Ravens couldn't. Now, if the Ravens do get ballsy here, right, and let's say that they are really trying to revamp this wide receiver core, there's a possibility that if the Ravens traded back, just think about this, right? At 22, we saw where the wide receiver group was. There was only one wide receiver off the board at 22.
There were two. They're Hollywood. You pick Hollywood before that in DK.
Oh, right. You're right. I'm sorry. Two guys off the board. If the Ravens traded back out of 22, and let's say they got a high-end 2 and maybe a high-end 3 in return for going back, there could be 2 big wide receivers picked in this draft, and they could end up with both of those guys, Butler and
I agree.
Harry.
That's been my pitch. My pitch was, so how I did my mock draft, I had us trading with the Rams, and the Rams were getting Bradbury at 22. And then at 31st, so we got 2/3 from that, and then at 31st, we got the Raiders jump again to the first round with that 3rd or 4th pick in the second round. They jump again, so they ended up with 4 first-rounders. And with that, we had a set, and I think that gave us a 4th round. So my whole spiel was with that first, second round, you get and kill Harry, which is my boy, and then you get a guy like Butler. You have, in my scenario, 4 third-rounders, 3 fourth-rounders. So you have the assets to jump up and get Butler. And I think, in my opinion, they're going to draft at least, in my opinion, it's going to be 3 receivers. Because 2 early and 1 in the later rounds. And the reason is you need receivers that are going to be good, obviously, but they can grow with Lamar, right? People that can grow with Lamar and they can make that chemistry as Lamar is becoming a better passer. You basically having your offensive core grow together. So I can see us picking 2 receivers at least for the first 3 picks. We picked 2 tight ends with our first 4 picks, or 2 out of the 4. I can see something like that for the receiver side.
What's your guys' take on Jalen Smith later in the draft because of his familiarity with Lamar?
Yes. Of course, every Ravens fan wants us to take Jalen Smith. Well, not every Ravens fan, but mostly, the people that have came over from Louisville that have
Stephen
been Lamar
L.
Jackson.
Jackson.
That's the one.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Steve.
He has his own train of the Jalen Smith hype train, so I can't hate on him, man. But yeah, I think it would be worth taking, a little bit of a 5th or a 6th round flyer on Jalen Smith just because of the little connection that him and Lamar do have. I wouldn't be mad at that. An early, 3rd or 4th or 5th, even maybe not, but a later pick, sure, I wouldn't hate it. I'd be fine with it.
I would say for me 5th or later for Jalen.
Yeah.
And the only problem that I have is as long as Lamar doesn't fall in love, that because he has the previous connection, that he knows him more, which I don't think it might happen. I think at least 3 receivers, 2 in the early stages, and that might be the 3rd guy. Smith is more of an outside guy. Nkeel or Butler will be more of an outside guy. That would be awesome. You have your 2 outside guys. I can see them going Harry or Butler, just to appease Noobo, with their first wide receiver, especially if they trade back. And that would be 1 outside. Jalen Smith as the possible other outside, with Chris Moore being the starter. And get a guy that I love, like Andy Isabella, for the slot. Or the other guy that was wide receiver from Ohio State.
Oh, Campbell.
Campbell.
He can be another 2nd round target, or his running mate, the other receiver, I forgot his name, McCartley or something like that. He in the 3rd round might be available. He's a speedster also. He ran in the 4.4, I think it was. Those are guys that might be available without you trading much, and you can still get a lot of value. But yeah, Smith in the 5th round makes sense. I remember when the Ravens drafted Torrey Smith. I remember that I was like, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get that guy, Torrey Smith, and it just happened, right? It just happened. That was one of those picks that made sense. The same thing I would say last year. I would put Brown, Seuss. That will be the pick. Last year I didn't see them picking Hurst, and I wasn't in love with that pick. I wanted Goddard to be the tight end that we picked. But I mean, they went with Hurst. Now, I was happy with the other one because for me that was a steal. It was good best player available for Andrews.
Yeah. So let me pose this question to not only you guys but also the chat, because I'm afraid that this is something the Ravens might do. What if the Ravens take Paris Campbell in the 1st round?
Oh, wow, that's a stretch. That's too far of a stretch. Granted, now, for some crazy reason, if all those wide receivers that we've already mentioned are off the board and that's a big need, I'd have to trade back. To justify taking Campbell, I'd have to get something else in return for him. So I could not see them taking him in the 1st round. That would just be mind-blowing to me.
Okay, so if DK Metcalf, Hollywood Brown, AJ Brown, Harry, Butler, Harmon, I feel like the guy from South Carolina, Debo. If all those 7 people are before, and I wouldn't take in the last 2 in the 22nd, but let's say all of them are out, or even the first 5 are out, that means some hell of a defensive player just slid. I'll take the defensive player. Don't force to pick up wide receivers. You know what happened last time we forced to pick up wide receiver?
Exactly.
We got Perriman. Last time it was like, that guy is fast. He runs fast. He can catch. Let's pick him. He's there. No, I don't want that. I want the best player available. The reason that I say Harry is because the value of 22nd for Harry is good. If the mocks will cap Harry in the middle of the 2nd round, I would say trade back and get him later. That's my point with Hakeem Butler, right? Hakeem Butler's all over the place in the mock. Some people have them late first. Some people have them middle second round. That's his sweet spot. Nkio will say is probably late first or early second. That's where I've been seeing him. But that's the reason why I go with Harry. It's not because, we need a receiver. If the value is not there, don't overdraft. That means you're leaving a blue chip player there. Hell no.
I agree. What if, say the Ravens do go ahead and make that move, which, again, we all hate, of course, to take Paris Campbell in the first. But what if, to complement that, they trade back into the top of the second and say someone like N'Keal Harry somehow falls there, or Hakeem Butler, and we end up taking them to complement that receiving core?
Oh, then you just picked out of order. I mean, you should have been taking Butler or Harry way before you took Campbell.
There you go.
But I mean, I wouldn't be upset if they ended up with Butler or Harry and they ended up with Campbell. Right. Campbell can't be the first choice. He's at least the 6th or 7th rated wide receiver in this draft, in my opinion.
Campbell is a third round pick. He's a third round pick.
Late second, fast. Early third, in my opinion.
Yeah, he ran fast, and people are like, "Oh, we need to pick him." Going to Noobo's theory, what I will do is I'll have a tiki torch when I pick Campbell in the first round, and when I see N'Keal, I will just turn it off.
Well, let me ask you guys this. So, obviously, the Ravens signed Mark Ingram at running back, and they've got Gus Edwards there, and they've got Butterball in Kenneth Dixon. Are there any potential middle round picks at the running back position that you guys would like to see the Ravens kind of divvy at?
There's a bunch, in my opinion, because I think no running back should go in the first round. Maybe 1 or 2 should be going in the second. That's why they're going to slid a lot.
Let's look at the 3rd and 4th round. Yeah. If you had to name 2 guys in the 3rd and 4th round that you were looking at for the Ravens, who might those 2 guys be?
So let me tell you.
I can.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Noobo.
Okay. Well, I can give you 2 names for sure that I think would fit the Ravens. Looking at the running backs they do have, Darrell Henderson, of course, more of a 3rd round guy.
Good pick.
But I don't think I think he's actually going to be taken a lot sooner. He might even be taken in the second because Darrell Henderson is really good. But also someone like Devin Singletary, again, there you go. He's more of a speed running back. But that would be the perfect complement to our stable. So
I've got nothing left for you. You got both of them for me.
So I will throw 2 different names, and I will say I will be upset if in the 3rd round they decide to go with a running back. There's gonna be so much talent in the 4th, 5th. I think a guy like Snell might slip to the 4th round. I like his production out of college. He's a hard running back. He has all of these running backs are not perfect, but he'll be your 4th running back. And a guy that I like even more, that's probably going to be in the 5th/6th round, Bryce Love. It's one of the guys that we broke in our back when we were podcasts available. Before the clowns took it. Thank you, clowns. Yeah. But Bryce Love, I love, no pun intended, but I think he's great. You put him in your 4th, as your 4th running back. He can catch, he has good hands. And Butterball will be, I think this will be his last year. He will be good, but injury, suspension, you can't trust the guy. Even if this year he decides to be clean in 16 games, no injuries, you can't trust Dixon. So Love, I think it will be a perfect complement of what Ingram and Gus the Bus do. I think those 2 are very similar. I think Love will bring that extra element.
That would be a good pick, especially since we could probably get him like either in the 5th or the 6th, hopefully.
Yes.
Right.
But I mean, a running back that I really, really like, but I don't think he'll necessarily fit with the Ravens. I just think whichever team he goes to he's going to be a beast. Is David Montgomery. Right. So you guys watch out for him. Draft him in fantasy. Maybe, of course, not early rounds, but definitely draft him in fantasy wherever he goes.
I think Noobo has some stock in Iowa State or something, man. It's just everything is like Hakeem. Amen. It's like name me another one. You're like Iowa State.
Iowa State hype train. No, I'm just kidding.
I think Mike Weber, the running back out of Ohio State, I think he's a guy that's getting kind of undervalued. I think this guy can bring a lot to a team. He's very versatile. He's a good pass-catching running back. I think he'll be another late 5th, early 6th round pick that might be a guy that if the Ravens haven't dove into the running back position at that point, if he's still out there, he might be a guy to look at too.
Yeah. And even if we don't take a running back in the draft, I think we would be fine, with an undrafted running back, or even if we have DeLance Turner, I think he would be pretty good. So I don't think running back is necessarily a position we really have to look at anymore. Now that we have Ingram, even though a lot of people didn't like the Ingram signing, but yeah.
I don't understand why.
I'm one of them. You want me to explain you why I didn't like it?
Here we go.
He's a Gus Edwards, but a little bit older. Now, I love the attitude. I like the guy.
He's not.
The only thing
he's not.
The only thing he does differently is he's a hell of a screen catcher. He's not your guy like Kamara was. Kamara can actually catch more in the flat. He can do those dig in. Ingram is a good one on the screen pass, and I'm hoping they're using him because that's what they're paying for him for the screen game. Edwards hasn't shown me that, right? But no, I mean that would have been $5 million that I would have just saved. I would have just gotten Tevin Coleman. He got a cheaper deal, younger. So yeah, it wasn't that I was hating, and Noobo knows this because we do the weekly thing. But I wasn't. It wasn't like, oh yeah. Now after we signed him, listening to him, I love the guy. Like he has that charisma that you're like, oh my god, this guy can be awesome in the locker room. But if you take that part away, which I know that's part of the package, as a player, I don't think he brings that much more than Gus Edwards.
I don't know. I think you hit the nail on the head for one of the main reasons why you bring him in is this team sorely lacked veteran leadership and that locker room presence. I mean, once they got rid of Terrell Suggs, Eric Weddle, the list goes on, CJ Mosley, I know they're all on the defensive side, but you still got to have guys that can keep a locker room together. And everything that you hear about Mark Ingram is nothing but positive. Everything that you hear about this guy. Mm-hmm. And at $5 million for a guy that averaged damn near 5 yards per carry for his entire career, and he does give you a little bit more versatility out of the backfield as a pass catcher for $5 million per year, I think it's a no-brainer. And Gus Edwards, albeit he had a really good rookie year, and he showed us that he can be a downhill runner. It's a very small sample size. Mark Ingram's been doing his thing since day one, since he came in the league. For $5 million, I think it adds a lot to this team, and I think the veteran leadership is undervalued and how important that is for the locker room and for the team.
Well, let me add something as well, because I'm on Fred's side. I really like the signing, and hey, guess what, Sonny? You're not going to believe this, but Marcus is actually on your side on this one.
I'm liking him more. I'm liking him more.
But anyways, so I wanted to bring up Coach Evans because not only he's going to be doing a stream after this, so you guys definitely make sure to check out his channel. Coach Evans, I love Coach Evans, man. He does really good work, so definitely subscribe to his channel. But he's the one that really put me on to Mark Ingram and really opened my eyes, because he did like a little film breakdown of Mark Ingram and what he's capable of. And oh man, I really underrated Mark Ingram. I was like you, Sonny, that I just thought, oh, he's another Gus Edwards. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, he can catch out of the backfield, but why not just try to work with Gus Edwards so he can possibly learn to do that? But then when you see him on tape, when you saw him on the Saints offense, man, he has amazing vision that you just wouldn't expect from someone like Gus. Mark Ingram, his cutback ability is just amazing, and I think he's going to be an absolute problem on this Ravens offense. Seriously, and in a good way, in a very good way. Problem for the rest of the league.
I hope so. I saw Coach because I'm a big fan of him. Again, guys, as soon as we finish here, which we're going to wrap up soon, go check his the channel. And if you haven't given us a like to this video, please do, and subscribe to all of our channels. But that being said, I'm not disagreeing that Ingram is better. I just don't think he sleeps better. I think Coleman would have made more sense. He's actually a guy that can catch a little bit better out of the backfield, in my opinion. That's why if you can get a guy like Bryce Love in the later rounds, he is a different back to what you have, and it will complement us nice. Now, I would say the best feature that I like from Ingram, this is in my opinion, is his blocking ability on the passing game. I love that. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Because I think Edwards is okay. Dixon is So, you know, I think Ingram is the guy. So, on a 3rd and long, you definitely put Ingram not only because of hands, but also the ability to block. It was one of the things that Montgomery was doing good for us. One of the very few things that he did good for us. So...
And think about it. I mean, the other thing that you got to take into consideration with Mark Ingram is not only was he averaging almost 5 yards per carry, but he was doing it in an offense with a quarterback that nobody was spying on Drew Brees, right? He's going to be in an offense now where they're going to be playing spy on Lamar Jackson. That's going to be one defender less, really, that Mark Ingram has to worry about. When he gets that ball, he's going to hit the hole hard. And I'm telling you, I think he's primed to have a big, big year.
Yeah, I think I think your point is well taken, but also you can think about that box is going to be more stacked versus against the Saints. That defense is more spread. So, yeah, it could be good, could be bad, because he might make the first cut, let somebody miss, but there's so many people in the box, you know. Which the one good thing is if you make it to the 3rd level, you're gone, because the defense basically in the backfield at that point. So. Yeah, anyway, guys, we've been here for what? More than an hour, right? I mean, an hour and a half. So, guys, hopefully you loved the draft. You loved the video. You, there was something that changed there. So, sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning. We are, you know, this is not ESPN. So, but thank you for joining us. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to Birdland Bs. Down below, you can find him on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, every Tuesdays, 8:45. Twitter and Facebook, they do a live. Oh, and then Twitcher.
Yeah, Twitch.
Yep. Twitch. They do a live stream in those channels. Check them out. They're great. They're great. I try to be there. For, you know, this is Fred, co-host Scott. He's the real BS, so he's not here today, but. Check them out. Subscribe. Fred, Noobo, me. We like when people ask us questions in IG and Twitter. I have been responding to the people that have been asking me questions, so don't be afraid to reach out to Fred. With Joe Noobo, you guys know him. We do a podcast weekly, Cover 6 podcast. Subscribe to his channel if you haven't, which I'm assuming all of you have. But if not, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Give it a thumbs up. At 250, I'm going to do a giveaway, and I promise this, when we get to 1,000 in the SCG Sports, we are going to do a jersey giveaway, and hopefully it's an N'Keal Harry giveaway. So,
nice.
All that being said, from here, go to Sip2 Tally. The coach is the guy that we've been talking about. Great breakdowns of the film, and he's going to do a live now. So, from here, if you have time, go join in. And guys, thanks for having us. Thanks for being part of this.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Had a lot of fun.
No doubt, we had a lot of fun. Later.
Peace out, guys.
See you guys.